Hi, my name is Gregory Scott. This is Lemery Rollins, and we're still here at Huntsville.
West Effect.
West Effect. Boom. Second hour, we talked about frame a little bit.
And partnerships,
Individual spacing, which for individual spacing, we use the hula hoop in order to demonstrate how individual spacing works. So ultimately what happens is with an individual spacing, we have the back of our hoop, the middle of our hoop, and the front of our hoop in order for us to move around into. We each have an individual hoop in order to move around, but there's only one right now. But, so I'm going to place myself before I move. Right now we're both in the middle, which you can tell both by our arms and the fact that Lemery's in the middle of her hoop. Before I move, I'm going to send her to the back of her hoop as I go to the back of mine.
He sends me by going to his. Does that make sense?
So I'm not doing this because I am in the back of my hoop, but I have pushed my hoop away from myself. Yes? So I'm just going to basically nudge myself to the back and nudge herself to the back. We're going to maintain this position through one. One. Same as we did before. Now I'm going to shift myself to the middle of the hoop, which is going to send her to the middle of hers, because she likes to match. Now I'm going to, for a sugar push, I'm going to send myself to the front of my hoop, which makes she's going to go to the front of hers. Now we have an and. Now I'm going to return myself to the middle of the hoop, other than going for and staying in the front of my hoop. I would only do that if I want to continue to walk that way, but right now I'm doing a sugar push, so I want to go back to the middle of my hoop. We have a 5 and in the middle, 6 goes back to the back of the hoop again. So we have maintain, middle, front, front, middle, 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 back, maintain, middle, front, front, middle, 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 back.
Cool. Now just so that you can see it on Greg's end.
So I go to the back, boom, maintain, middle, front, front, middle, 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 back, maintain, middle, front, front, middle, 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 back, maintain.
Now keep in mind on side passes, you'll never come to the front of your hoop.
Because there's no compression. So we stay in the middle. Middle, middle, back, maintain, middle, 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 back, maintain. Then I could probably see it better with me bouncing off this hoop, right?
Yep. Cool. I was gonna say one more thing with that.
Rotation?
I don't remember. Nope. I don't remember, so we'll move on.
All right. Triple timing.
Yes. So we went over triples and timing. We don't have too many props in here. So the first thing we went over is how triples work. You want to make sure that triples are a stationary motion. So, I know what I was going to talk about. So before we talk about triples, sorry. So the difference between partnership spacing and individual spacing, just so you understand, individual spacing can happen even from closed position. So just because I'm in closed position doesn't mean that I can't go back to the back of my hoop. Does that make sense?
Or the front.
Or the front. Where, likewise, if I'm in extended, it doesn't mean that I still can't be in compression. That's why they're a little bit different. They work together, but they're slightly different techniques. Cool?
Work.
All right, so triples. So the first thing you want to make sure that you understand about triples is that they're stationary. And in order to accomplish that, we did a little exercise where I had you stay on a foot, and I made you make a weight transfer without moving your center. So weight transfer without moving your center. So a couple of things I have to do with that. I'm not just collecting my feet. Please notice how I shift. I'm actually making sure that I'm replacing my standing leg with my new foot. So I'm trying to calculate where my center is and where I need to make that weight transfer to make sure I don't move.
We're just doing that faster.
The other thing that I'm doing is making sure that I'm rolling through my feet. The more I roll through my feet, the more time I have to make sure that I'm fully accepting weight onto a new foot.
It's kind of like kneading dough.
Cool. Also, keep in mind that when you are tripling, how I know that you finish the triple is the opening at the end. So we have a collect in the beginning, and then an open at the end. The open can go anywhere forward, it can go back, it can go side, it can go diagonal, it can rotate, but I want to see that collect in the beginning and the open at the end.
Yes. The open part of the triple is where we could also call it as a transition. So a collect, and then a transition, wherever you want to go. Or sometimes nowhere, but your feet still has to open. Actually, this is incorrect because my weight's still split. So I needed to actually send the rest of the way. So with triples, the main thing with triples is this is a downbeat. 1, 2. This is an upbeat. So the downbeat is normally the bass drum of the drum set. This is normally a clap or a snap or the snare drum, sometimes a cymbal. Sometimes cymbals play all these other notes, but this is actually here. A triple is 3 weight transfers between this beat, using that beat, and this beat. So this is definitely going to be 1 weight transfer, and this is definitely going to be the other weight transfer. So it starts here on 1, and it ends on 2. But I got 1 extra weight transfer. And in between this, musician-wise, I would represent an E. Halfway in between these represents an and. Favoring my upbeat represents an So where I take this last weight transfer, these 2 have already been set by the music. Where I take this determines how I'm actually stepping. Does that make sense? West Coast typically uses this one, which is the middle. It's an even beat thing. This beat, since it's an upbeat, represents me on the other side on a hold. Triple step. Then there's a hold.
Down and up beat.
So if we go down,
up
beat, up, beat. Down, beat, up, beat. Does that make sense? If I move here, we go 1 E, 2, 1 E, 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. These are all valid, but this weight transfer and that weight transfer are set by the music.
Correct. Cool. All right, and that was pretty much hour 2.